Hey everybody, it's me. I know that this video is a long time coming, but I'm finally ready to tell my birth story. Baby's in the other room watching some TV, so if you hear a little commotion, that's what's going on. She just woke up from a nap. I thought I'd be able to sneak this in while she was sleeping, but no such luck, and that's okay. Cheers. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I do the Coffee at Home Club pretty much every day, so I'm still working on that. It is 3 p.m., but that's all right. So, birth. Wow. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so I thought what a perfect time to finally sit down and do this. My first Mother's Day, I was reflecting on just like the joy and amazing experience that motherhood is. And I truly feel like my life starts now. Like, she just completes me. I've known since I was a little girl that I wanted to be a mommy someday, and I've always loved babies. I don't know how to even explain it. I've always been so maternal and just ready to be a mom. And it's my time. I can't believe it. Uh, yeah, she just completes me. She was like the missing puzzle piece I didn't know was missing. And now she's here, and I feel like mom Brooke is like true Brooke. And life is amazing, and she's amazing. And yeah, I just wanted to share my birth story. I won't go over pregnancy as a whole because I think I'd like to do a separate video on my experience of my pregnancy. Um, but I'll just go over a little bit. I've known for a few years that when I became pregnant, I really wanted to have a natural pregnancy and labor and birth. So we right off the bat knew we wanted to find a midwife. Found a midwife, we found a doula, and we were going to have a home birth. We ended up birthing at a birthing center and absolutely loved the experience. The reasons I wanted to have a home birth were simply because I wanted the natural birth process to run its course. I did not want to have any interventions that were unnecessary. I did not want an epidural. I did not want to be induced. Um, I really just wanted that natural process to just like take over me, and my body knows what to do. My body was made for this. I was made for this. I believe everything in life is mostly about your mindset. My mindset was my body can do this. I can do this. So, like I said, we ended up in a birth center instead, and I actually loved the experience so much more than I believe I would have enjoyed the experience at home. I think being at home, I would have been. I anticipated being in my most comfortable place. But as you'll hear me talk about, I really went within when I was in labor. I did not know what was going on around me. It was all just like me right here within. And the care that I received at the birth center, although it wouldn't have been different care than at home, felt less I felt less responsible for the space. Like, I wasn't at home, so I wasn't responsible for what was going on around me, and I was able to just fully let go and surrender and, like I said, go within. Um, I think if I was at home, I would have been worried about like, oh, what's the dog doing? What's the cat doing? Um, does the midwife or doula need help finding something? Although that wouldn't have been my responsibility in the middle of being in labor, um, I feel like I got to let go even more at the birth center. Our birth center was beautiful. We had obviously a private room. Um, we had our own birthing tub, our own private bathroom, and then it was basically just like a really nice hotel room. We had a queen size bed in there, and like ambient like star sky lighting in the ceiling. It was really cool. It was beautiful. So yeah, I'll jump into the story. Labor started on a Monday morning. It was around 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I woke up and felt crampy, and I decided to get in the shower because a hot shower always relaxes me. If you know me personally, you know this. Especially if we used to go out drinking together, I always would end up in the shower at the end of the night. Um, Gone are those days. But I was in and out of the shower all morning. Finally, I texted Vaughn and I was like, hey, I don't think this is just cramps. I think I'm in early labor. And he was very anxious and excited, so he left work right away and came home. But I had him run some errands. I wanted to eat lunch and I wanted some snacks. I was like craving hummus and veggies and berries. So he ran to the grocery store and to get some lunch at Culver's. And by the time he got home, I could not focus enough to eat. I was really like moaning through each contraction. And in my head, they were lasting 15 seconds. That was my guess. So I'd been texting the midwife and doula this. And they were like, okay, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. Keep working through that. The point is to labor at home as long as possible. There's no reason to be in the birth center while you're in early labor because your body really just needs to like progress. So I was updating them. They were comfortable with where I was at and that I was at home. And when Vaughn got home, he was like, are you still telling them your contractions are only lasting 15 seconds? And I was like, yeah. He's like, babe, I've been timing them and they're like a minute to a minute and a half. And I was like, oh, so right there tells you like I really was going within. Deep breath in, moaning out. And I was doing those breaths like 4 to 5 times through each contraction. So of course that's longer than 15 seconds. Like looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, the fact that I thought it was 15 seconds is just comical. So he updated them. Hey, they're actually like 1 to 2 minutes long. This is how far apart they are. So that was my reality all day long, was laboring at home. I was in and out of the shower. And then when things got a little bit more uncomfortable, I was on the couch. He sat next to me the whole time, tried to get me to eat and drink what he could, but I was not interested. In hindsight, I really wish I would have forced myself to eat more. I got nauseous a couple times. We like tried running to the bathroom once because I thought I was going to throw up. And just as I got there, that nausea went away. So I didn't get sick at all. Like I said, once things got more intense, I was on the couch. He held my hand the whole time, and I was able to like really like squeeze on him once things were getting stronger and stronger, but still breathing and moaning through each contraction. Finally, the doula and midwife requested that we join them at the birth center. It's like a 45-minute drive. I don't remember exactly what time we left. Again, I was like already pretty like within and removed from what was going on around me. So we texted both of our sisters and asked who could come stay with the dog overnight. My sister came and my mom ended up joining her. So away we went. I think we arrived at the birth center around 9 p.m. I should have fact checked these times, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. So I'd been laboring for a while at home. So when I got there, things were starting to feel hot and heavy. My contractions intensified in the car, not to a scary point, but just progressing. So when we got there, they got me right into the the warm birth tub, and I labored there for a while. And shortly after being there, my birth photographer showed up. And shortly after that, my body started pushing. So instead of moaning out my contractions, moaning my exhales, it was like grunting, and they could tell, like, okay, Brooke, your body is starting to bear down. We can tell just by the sounds you're making. If you're feeling ready to push, go ahead and start pushing. Follow your body's lead. And I did. Although I did not progress much in the tub. I was in the tub pushing for quite a while, like hours. And of course, they were closely monitoring me. They were monitoring the baby's heartbeat. And it got to a point where we had been out of the tub. We tried sitting on the toilet in that position, walking around. I did not like switching positions. I really liked being, like, again, in my own world. Vaughn sat with me the whole time. They made sure I was drinking water. They tried to get me to eat some snacks, and I reluctantly tried to eat them, but I was just not in the mood. Trying to keep me energized and hydrated, which is so important. Again, in hindsight, I would have probably pushed myself or forced myself to do those things more, including moving positions. They had to remind me to do all of that. I was really just within myself, and like I didn't want music on. Envisioning the whole birth process, I thought I would be like, let's turn on the spa sounds or like Hertz frequencies. No, I wanted nothing. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to chat. I didn't want music. I wanted nothing. It was just like me within myself and Vaughn right in front of me, holding hands, breathing with me. He now and then would, give me some verbal reassurance or whatever, but it was really a beautiful but quiet process, other than my moaning and all the sounds I was making. But yeah, so like I said, they would move me around, and I really did not like switching positions, but that's vital for getting the baby into the proper position, and through transition. So I was in and out of the tub a few times, and finally, as it had been a few hours, we weren't really seeing much progress. And at the time, the midwife and doula were really good about not worrying me or showing if they had any concern that they did. But it did get to a point where I was like, okay, we really need to get baby out. And the midwife said, I know this is kind of backwards as to what you want when you envision a home birth, but I really do want to get you onto the bed and actually on your back. I really think we could make some progress with me helping physically guide where you're pushing. So I got out, I got in bed. My waters still had not broken. So she actually manually broke my water, and she said things are going to intensify from here, and they did. She helped stretch me, and then she helped literally push on my body where she wanted me to focus my pushing. And that helped me so much. Shortly after that, baby started crowning. Then we felt the ring of fire, and I remember saying after Avery was born, like, oh my God, I know why they call it the ring of fire, because it is the ring of fire. It hurt. It was so intense. The whole process was so intense, but it was so cool. I keep saying this, but like, just to like be within myself. I've never experienced that depth of withdrawing within myself. It was so cool. Yeah, she crowned. We pushed her head. I pushed her head out. The midwife removed. The cord was wrapped once, excuse me, which is very common. Most babies are born with the cord wrapped more often than not, I should say. I don't know the exact like statistics or numbers, but she removed the cord, and Vaughn this whole time had voiced that he wanted to deliver the baby. So once she removed the cord, she kind of stepped aside and said, Vaughn, scoot on in. It's your turn. It's your time to shine. And she walked him through what it would be like. She said, once the shoulders come out, she's probably going to come out pretty quickly. Or we didn't know that it was a girl yet. Baby's going to probably come out pretty quickly. I need you to support the head and neck. And with your other hand, you're going to support the body. So he jumped into place, and with the next push, her shoulders came out, and he told me after, he's like, I kind of pulled her the rest of the way, to which I said, thank you. And right from there, he put her right on my chest, and he came up and sat next to us, and it's like the most, I have no words to describe the feeling. We were giggling and like jolly laughing, like shaking, laughing and crying, and it's like all a blur. I think I just kept saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And we just like sat in that bliss for a few minutes. Her eyes were wide open right away. He said actually before she came all the way out, once her head was delivered, that her eyes were open and looking at him right away. She wasn't crying. Her eyes were open. So I was like, rubbing her back a little bit. I didn't want to do like over the top stimulation. Also, I'm just like flabbergasted that I just did this and that our baby is here. So the midwife was starting to get her wiped down a little bit, trying to stimulate her. I had no fear or anxiety over her being okay. I just knew that she was. So I let the midwife do what she needed to do, but I knew she was okay, and she was. She's perfect. So it was like minutes after her being born that I finally was like, is it a boy? We thought the entire pregnancy, with the exception of 2 signs from above, is what I'm going to call them, that the baby was a boy. My sister had a very vivid dream that the baby was a girl, which was confusing because even she thought that the baby was a boy. And I had one weird, like all-knowing moment that washed over me that she was a girl. But other than that, I talked myself back into it's a boy, it's a boy, it's a boy. And it was a girl, of course, Miss Avery. Um, yeah, I was like, wait, what is it? Is it a boy or a girl? And Vaughn was like, oh my God, I didn't even think to look. I don't know. So both he and the midwife lifted one of her legs and they were like, it's a girl. And again, more tears, more laughing, more giggling, more shaking. Like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And looking back, I cannot imagine not having my girl. Like, again, my missing puzzle piece. She's everything. She's perfect. I miss her right now. She's like right there, watching TV, hanging out. I miss her. I just want to snuggle her. I love her so much. She is like my greatest joy. And I can't imagine her being a boy. Of course, either way, it doesn't matter. But just like knowing her now and being her little best friend and mommy, I can't imagine her being a boy. She's perfect. She's meant to be. It was the most amazing, difficult, hard, wonderful, beautiful experience of my life. And as hard as it is, as much as it hurts, I would do it again in a heart. Like, I can't wait to do it again someday. It was incredible. My cheeks hurt from smiling right now. I just, oh, absolutely magical. We planned to do delayed cord clamping, but once I delivered the placenta, her cord was actually already white. So she had received all the blood and nutrients and whatever from the placenta. So we cut the cord. I actually cut the cord. Vaughn said he didn't care to. So I was like, I'd rather do it than one of us not do it. So I cut her cord. We saved our placenta, and the doula actually processed it for us and encapsulated it. So I still do have and take my encapsulated placenta. She was born at 3:30 a.m. If you know me, 333 is my angel number, my lucky number. So we're 3 minutes away. However, she was born at 3:30. So of course there's still a 3-3 in there. She was born on February 20th. So her birthday is 220. Time of birth is 330. So she's my angel number baby, of course. No such thing as a coincidence. Yeah, so cool. We did all of her like newborn testing probably around like 5:30 a.m. The birth photographer was still there. I'm gonna insert some photos throughout this if I'm sure I have already at this point. But yeah, she stayed. She took some photos of like weighing the baby and doing her footprints and all of that jazz. Like I said, that was around like 5:30 a.m. and God, the time just flew after that. We were just soaking in her presence and the experience. We stayed the full next day and one more night in the birth center. We went home Wednesday. Yeah, we went home Wednesday, came home Wednesday. My mom and my sister were still here. They stayed the second night with the dog. So they got to meet her right away. It's funny because I had the only anxiety that I really had during my pregnancy was about setting boundaries and not wanting anyone around. And that melted away almost immediately. I expected going to the birth center that I would want my mom and sister gone by the time we came home, that we would want a full week to ourselves before we had visitors, but I was so ready to share her with the people we love the most. And so my mom and sister stayed. They met her, and shortly after, my dad and stepmom and Vaughn's parents and then siblings came by one, I think all within the first week. And yeah, it was amazing. I wouldn't change a piece of my birth experience, my labor, my pregnancy, or anything. It all went exactly how it should have and needed to. And I fully trusted that. I knew that whatever needed to happen and however it needed to happen is how it would happen. And it did. And it was magical. And my girl's here. She's going to be 3 months old tomorrow, 12 weeks old tomorrow. Amazing. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and tomorrow I have a 3-month-old. It's just divine timing. If you think of any other questions, feel free to shoot me a message. I would love to do a follow-up video if anyone's interested. And I would still like to do a video of my experience being pregnant. So if you have questions for that, let me know. That video will be coming next. What a wild ride. Motherhood is amazing. Just so cool. I'm all sappy right now. I am normally not sappy these days. I've been super sensitive my whole life growing up. I'm a Cancer. I've always been sensitive, sappy, a crybaby, and all through pregnancy, I was not. Not in a bad way, not like anti-sensitive, just I really like soaked it all in, but matter of factly. I was not sensitive. I was not unattached at all, but I was just not overly emotional, which is very interesting. And she's a Pisces, so I don't know. Super interesting, us water babies. But yeah. All right, let me know if you have questions. I hope you love the video. Now that I'm saying this, I will edit in videos, or I'm sorry, birth photos all throughout the video. So I hope you enjoyed those too. My friend Sierra from Ash Ember Photography, she's based out of, I think Rockford, Illinois, Northern Illinois. She's fantastic. We absolutely loved having her there. It's just so good. Yeah. Thanks for listening. It was so fun to tell the story. I planned on editing this and piecing it together, but I really liked the rawness of just like sitting down and going. I wanted to have bullet points listed, so I made sure to touch on everything, but this felt right to just sit down and go. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of my journey, whether you're just here watching this video, if you're listening to this audio on a podcast, or if you're on my Instagram fam, if you're part of my Coffee at Home Club. This is one of my favorite cups. Let's be better humans. Remember, it's all about mindset. Have a positive mindset today and every day. I love you. Thanks for being a part of my journey. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.